Have you ever stood on the precipice of destiny, where the thunderous clash of ambitions echoes like the drums of Waterloo, drowning out the whispers of fear, while the metallic tang of blood-soaked earth mingles with the acrid smoke of burning banners, forcing you to confront the raw sacrifice demanded by identity's forge? Kingdom Season 6, Episode 1 thrusts us into that maelstrom of unification's cost, where the distant roar of armies reverberates like a heartbeat in the chest, the chill of steel against skin foreshadowing the philosophical chasm between peace's illusion and war's brutal truth. Released on October 5, 2025, this opener launches the Western Zhao invasion arc, bridging the fragile truce from Season 5's Kokuyu battles to the escalating shadows of Qin's grand conquest. I personally was struck by its visceral gravity, a narrative that pulls you onto the bloodied fields of ancient China, the weight of a general's glaive in your grip, the murmur of political intrigue swirling like fog over the Yangtze. Yet it teases without surrender, leaving you breathless, questioning. What if one declaration could shatter empires, mirroring your own unspoken battles for purpose? Step into the fray, reader. Don't you feel the suspense tightening like a bowstring, the curiosity igniting like gunpowder, compelling you to witness if hope's flame can endure despair's gale? Episode 1 reignites the saga of Qin's unification under King Yi, akin to Alexander's conquests forging an empire from fractured realms, as strategic parleys and military restructurings unfold in the shadow of a tenuous truce. Transitioning from Season 5's frontline skirmishes, where the High Shin unit's valor at Kokuyu earned hard-won respect, this installment shifts to internal fortification, spotlighting unit expansions and diplomatic tensions that propel toward invasion's brink. Envision yourself amid the clamor of recruitment grounds, dust kicking up like sands of the Gobi under eager feet, banners fluttering as alliances teeter, yet poignant tributes to fallen mentors evoke Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, honoring sacrifices amid renewal. What veiled strategies lurk in these preparations? The episode suspends that riddle, heart-thundering, beckoning you to unravel if forged bonds can withstand the forge of war. Episode 1 masterfully advances the overarching unification narrative by reorienting from battlefield grit to strategic groundwork, unveiling revelations around military promotions and diplomatic standoffs that culminate in a cliffhanger poised for invasion. Key twists manifest in unexpected alliances and tactical proposals, propelling Qin's ambitions while echoing the manga's shift to endurance warfare. Pacing achieves symphonic balance, deliberate in introspective gatherings, accelerating in recruitment fervor, ensuring dramatic equilibrium without haste. Fans often query cloudy aspects like the High Shin unit's selective recruitment. Why prioritize stamina over immediate prowess? And does the Uki spear scene imply inherited destiny? Drawing from manga chapter 492, this stems from Ka Ryo Ten's tactical evolution. Stamina fortifies defensive lines for prolonged campaigns, with exceptions like Archer brothers Sojin and Sotan, sons of fallen Ten Bao Sojen, adding specialized firepower, clarifying that the unit's growth mirrors Qin's adaptive strategy against Ri-Boku's attrition. The Uki spear, a symbolic heirloom from the KU campaign arc, signifies Shin's maturation into a 5,000-man commander, providing context that his Fresh Start, chapter 493 title, honors past mentors while arming for Zhao's Heartland assault, transforming anime ambiguities into deliberate bridges to the Gyu feint in subsequent chapters. Eisei radiates psychological depth, his hidden wounds, echoes of royal betrayals like those in Shakespeare's Richard II, motivating unyielding resolve. His choices consistent in rejecting fragile pacts yet transformative in embracing pragmatic alliances. Ri-Boku unveils layered motivations, his admiration for Eisei a surprising vulnerability amid sacrificial defiance, dialogues shifting from philosophical pleas to war vows. Shin's growth shines through humility turned command, his promotion a surprising affirmation of grit. Ka Ryo Ten evolves as strategist, her selections revealing tactical acumen. Were these consistent? Utterly, yet surprising in how grief fuels renewal, like Achilles channeling Patroclus' loss into fury. The episode probes power's paradox. What if unification demands devouring one's humanity, akin to Machiavelli's prince sacrificing morals for statecraft, where hope clashes with despair in every truce's shadow? Morality manifests in Eisei's law-bound vision versus Ri-Boku's diplomatic illusion, questioning sacrifice's worth. Shin's inheritance embodies survival's cost, balancing despair's weight with aspirational fire. These echo through struggles, like Ri-Boku's endurance vow mirroring historical sieges of attrition, drawing you to introspect. Haven't you weighed ideals against reality's blade, teetering on ambition's edge? New lore enriches Qin's universe. Bureaucratic reforms and unit hierarchies complicate conquest, revealing cultural mandates of merit over birthright, akin to Han Dynasty innovations. Deepening the warring states' textured rivalries without overload, the script pulses with poetic intensity, sharp as a glaive's edge, lines lines of defiance carry Sun Tzu's strategic weight, foreshadowing invasions while resonating like echoes from the Great Wall's stones. Impactful sans clichés, dialogues evoke Caesar's Veni, Vidi, Vici in their declarative force, as if you're ensconced in Canio's throne room, words heavy with fate. Doesn't their timbre fuel a suspense that demands your immersion? Animation from Pierrot and signpost surges with fluid grandeur, art direction layering crimson battle hues against somber court grays, where lighting pierces shadows to symbolize emergent resolve, not mere spectacle, but a visual ode to ambition's dawn. Stillness in Funerals contrasts dynamic recruitment, shaping poignant gravity. Direction deploys sweeping angles to dwarf figures against vast palaces, compositions framing speeches like epic frescoes, editing rhythms cresting to amplify tension's swell. The soundtrack haunts as a martial chorus, motifs of resonant strings elevating oaths, crescendos searing spear scenes into memory, silences and revelations thundering louder than charges. Voice acting captivates. Masakazu Morita's Shin delivers with gravelly tremor, embodying a warrior's scarred soul. Jun Fukuyama's Eisei infuses regal intensity, a silken thunder commanding allegiance. This episode evoked a tumultuous surge of exhilaration laced with melancholy, sparking wonder at legacy's spark while scarring with loss's echo, like standing at Thermopylae's pass, witnessing few defy many. Moments of inheritance etching deep. The pivotal convergence unfolds as destinies entwine, a breaking point where past burdens propel future conquests, shifting empires irrevocably, reminiscent of the Rubicon's fateful cross. It binds to timeless queries. How do we wield power without losing self, like bridges over bloodied rivers? I felt the spear's heft in my palms, the echo of a mentor's cry in my ears, bearing Shin's scars as my own. Reader, haven't you tasted ambition's bitter wine? Wounds of unyielding hope craving vindication, employing reverse reading, potential flaws like deliberate pacing, echoed in fan notes on character overload, reframe as thematic immersion, mirroring the manga's intricate politics to deepen unification's complexity. Opacity in motivations clarifies via source depth. I didn't like occasional static frames, yet they underscore reflective pauses. Balanced, the episode's epic scope triumphs over minor densities, forging a compelling historical tapestry. Episode 1 excels in thematic profundity, character evolution, and visual majesty, though political layers demand patience, succeeding as a resonant prelude, igniting war's inexorable march with narrative prowess. I anticipate its battles unfolding like ancient scrolls unfurled. But as spears glint under dawn's first light, can you resist the call to arms, sensing your own ambitions stir in the shadows? Watching isn't mere diversion, it's the inevitable thrust into history's forge, where your unspoken conquest awaits. What if the weight of a crown were not gold, but the invisible chains of law and ambition, echoing the burdens of Lincoln during the Civil War, forging unity from fractured states, or the silent vigil of a strategist in the fog of Waterloo, where every move tastes of iron resolve and the acrid smoke of impending chaos? In Episode 2 of Kingdom Season 6, released on October 11, 2025, we linger in the shadowed halls of Qin's resurgence, mere breaths after the premier's reclamation of power from internal treachery. Feel the chill of stone floors under your bare feet, the faint echo of funeral drums vibrating in your chest, as Eisei grapples with the architecture of empire, not with swords alone, but with edicts that could bind or break a nation. This chapter whispers of turbulent horizons, a gathering storm where alliances harden like tempered steel, yet leaves you aching in the dim light. What unseen battles rage in the minds of kings and generals, and how might they reshape the map of your own unyielding dreams? You're there, inhaling the incense of mourning, sensing the pulse of strategy quickening. Yet the full thunder? It demands your witness, pulling you inexorably into the fray to uncover the truths that pulse just beyond sight. Picking up from the premier's consolidation of Qin's fractured court, where Zhang, now unassailed by Chancellor Liu Bui's shadows, turns his gaze inward to fortify the realm. This episode delves into the meticulous forging of a legal foundation, akin to the drafting of the Magna Carta amid baronial unrest, or a modern leader navigating post-revolution reforms in the hush of cabinet rooms. Mourning rites give way to clandestine recruitments in hidden prisons, where forgotten sages are unearthed like buried artifacts from Troy's ruins. Strategic minds clash across borders. Qin's high command plots audacious incursions, while Zhao's defenses rise like the Great Wall's unyielding spine. The narrative crescendos towards summons that draw young warriors back to the capital, their paths converging in a war council that hums with the tension of D-Day briefings, suspending you at the edge of mobilization. But why this precise convergence, and what vulnerabilities lurk in the grand design? The veil lifts just enough to tease, drawing you into the war room's candlelit intensity, where every glance and murmur ignites curiosity. What gambits will shatter the stalemate, compelling you to step forward and behold the unfolding cataclysm. The plot surges from introspection to ignition, advancing the unification saga by layering domestic stability onto military ambition, much like Caesar crossing the Rubicon after securing Rome's Senate. Revelations unfurl in measured strokes. The recruitment of a disgraced legalist unveils the blueprint for ruling a conquered China through impartial law, a twist that reframes Qin's conquest as not mere domination but systemic transformation. Pacing balances deliberate build-up, echoing the slow burn of the Godfather's family councils, with escalating urgency, culminating in a cliffhanger assembly of forces that dangles the promise of epic invasion. Dramatic equilibrium holds, introspective dialogues offsetting the hum of preparation, though the episode's set-up-heavy rhythm might echo the patient maneuvering in chess grandmaster duels. Addressing fan-puzzled, cloudy aspects, why the emphasis on legalism amid war drums? How can Qin breach Zhao's impregnable Western front? The manga, chapters 494 to 497, Bureaucrat's Job Arc, clarifies, Eisei's vision demands a meritocratic legal framework to govern diverse states, countering potential Confucian backlash as Re-Sure warns of ideological clashes. The strategy against Gu, Zhao's heartland bastion, hinges on exploiting overlooked supply vulnerabilities, a historical nod to ancient sieges like those of Tyre, where audacity trumps fortification. This source depth illuminates the animation's ambiguities, transforming setup into foreshadowed masterstroke, with Boku's fortifications, manga revealed as a trap-laden web, baiting Qin's advance for karmic reckonings ahead. Characters bleed with psychological nuance, their wounds as palpable as Brutus's internal torment before the Ides of March. Eisei evolves from conqueror to architect, his motivations rooted in a scarred idealism, choices consistent yet transformative, shedding isolation for collaborative vision. Shohei Kuin emerges as a cerebral titan, his strategic dialogues surprising in their vulnerability, admitting gaps in imagination while plotting with surgical precision. Boku, Zhao's enigmatic guardian, harbors a predatory calm, his growth manifesting in fortified resolve that hints at deeper vendettas. The young trio Shin, Ohan, Maoten pulse with raw ambition, their summons a rite of passage. Shin's impulsive camaraderie surprises, revealing hidden fraternity amid rivalry, consistent with his orphan's hunger for bonds. Re-Sure, the imprisoned sage, unveils layers of resigned wisdom, his recruitment a pivotal shift from defeat to redemption. Philosophically, the episode interrogates power's essence, not as brute force, but as the fragile edifice of law amid chaos, manifesting in Eisei's struggle to impose order on warring states, akin to Plato's philosopher king wrestling with the cave's shadows. Morality fractures in strategic choices, sacrifice personal grudges for national unity, or let ambition devour hope. Survival teeters on hope versus despair, as border patrols evoke the futility of endless vigilance, questioning if true victory lies in conquest or governance. World-building deepens the tapestry, introducing legalism's clash with emerging Confucianism, new lore that complicates Qin's universe, enriching it with ideological fault lines like those in Orwell's dystopias, where rules become weapons. Dialogue slices with poetic acuity, sharp and resonant, though occasionally veering into expository cliché. Lines on law's impartiality linger like Churchill's wartime orations, foreshadowing unification's trials and echoing post-credits with weighty introspection. In hushed prison cells, words carry the musty scent of forgotten tomes, binding you to the moment. Imagine the gravel in Shobun Kuin's voice as he extends an olive branch to the damned, or Re-Sure's measured warnings chilling your spine like a prophet's decree. What edicts would you draft in Eisei's throne, facing the abyss of divided loyalties? This verbal dance builds suspense, each syllable a lure, fueling curiosity. Will these philosophies forge empires or fracture them, urging you to immerse and divine the answers? Animation captivates with fluid grandeur, art direction wielding earthy palettes, deep umbers and flickering torchlight, to symbolize the underground birth of reform, much like the somber hues in Apocalypse now amplifying moral ambiguity. Symbolism thrives. Shadows cloak revelations, stillness in council chambers contrasts the movement of marching scouts, where beauty signifies the precarious dawn of order amid turmoil's storm. Direction masterfully deploys low angles during strategic unveilings to convey overwhelming scale, shot compositions framing isolated figures against vast crowds, editing rhythms pulsing like a heartbeat, slow for philosophical depth, accelerating to mirror mounting tension. The soundtrack haunts as an unseen oracle, its motifs, solemn strings swelling to martial percussion, elevating deliberations, searing into memory like Hans Zimmer's Dunes in Dune. Crescendos underscore summons, while silence thunders in moments of realization, speaking volumes of unspoken fears. Voice acting embodies essences. Jun Fukuyama's Eisei delivers with regal tremor, intensity forging a soul torn between dream and duty. Yoshimasa Hosoya's Shohei Kuin infuses timbre with calculated gravitas. Standouts like Kentaro Ito as Ri Boku convey predatory subtlety, their deliveries drawing you into the verbal arena as if the words resonate in your own throat. Emotionally, this episode etches a profound ache of anticipation, scars from the weight of legacy sparking wonder at human tenacity. Picture the surge in your veins as young warriors heed the call, akin to the exhilaration of gladiatorous arena summons, or the quiet resolve in a soldier's farewell letter from the front. Pivotal convergences collide like destinies in a Shakespearean tragedy, a breaking point where alliances solidify and horizons shift irrevocably, leaving you pondering. What laws govern our own ambitions, and what wars must we wage within to claim unity? I felt a visceral thrill at the strategic chessboard unfolding, a pang for the unsung architects, echoes that stir the soul long after. Yet, reversing the gaze, potential flaws reveal craft. The deliberate pacing, critiqued as methodical, mirrors the thematic gestation of law, a stylistic choice evoking historical epic's patient intrigue. Complexity in ideological debates might opacity for newcomers, but reframes as intentional depth, demanding engagement. Occasional animation stiffness in crowds tempers visual splendor, though balanced by the episode's narrative authenticity and emotional heft. In essence, Episode 2 excels in philosophical layering and strategic foreshadowing, its minor setup lulls outweighed by masterful buildup, succeeding triumphantly in bridging internal reform to external conquest. But what if your own turbulence awaits ignition?